What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf. Today's show, we're going to go over all of the top stories, including one theory that I actually think has some merit. We'll be right back with that and more right after this. Remember, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that being said, we actually like to back up almost everything that we say here unless we clarify that it's opinion. We'll actually have it on our website. So if it is an article, or if it's a video, or if it's a tweet, or if it is of course, a caption, it doesn't matter. It's going to be on our website. We like to link it there so you have access and you know exactly where your information is coming from. Today, you'll see that it's timing is everything, the Russel brand theory. Again, you'll be able to click that. You'll just look for today's thumbnail. Is he right? And then, of course, you'll see all of the links and everything we're going to show you here, so you can actually follow along on a second device. That makes it easy for you to also go back and archive what we have said here. I do have a lot of theories that go along with a lot of these articles, and most of this is based on information from our viewers. Again, we have a lot of military in our group. We have over 300,000 people between our two channels. Again, there's a lot of really good information that comes from you. So thank you, and thank you for coming. Honestly, I really do appreciate you. Before we get started, let's introduce my co-host / internet brother. Dex is going to be with us today. Dex, what is going on, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So Dex will also be running the phones tonight. This is going to be a live call-in show. So the number is scrolling down below. It is 224400-MARF. Again, that's 224400-MARF. MARF is a 6273. So that's 224400-6273. And then remember, if you're not getting notifications, please make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com. You'll see that we actually have our own. You can get push notifications directly to your phone, and that way that you will not miss a show. It is live, so it varies 15 minutes to half an hour from the actual YouTube stated time. YouTube has changed things to make us basically list before we're even ready. So, all right, let's get into the first article here. We have a lot to cover. I'm going to be covering, again, Russel Brand later, who actually, I don't know what your opinions on. Leave them in the chat below. Leave a comment down below what you think of Russel Brand. If you only know him as a comedian, then you have not found his series of work on YouTube, because he is basically talking just a ton about a lot of the things that I believe are actually true. So it's actually kind of risky for somebody in Hollywood to say the things that he does, especially about the economic forum and all the stuff that he says. All right, and now I've covered this a million times. An asteroid as tall as a skyscraper to pass Earth Tuesday. Now this is already passed. Not so much. It's not the story that makes any excitement here, because I've covered this exact headline only to replace it. In fact, I've joked around like they've come up with everything they possibly can. They've said an asteroid the size of, Big Ben, the asteroid the size of a skyscraper, the asteroid the size of a mega shark. They used a megalodon one time. And that, what big thing are they going to use next? The asteroid the size of Bigfoot, whatever it is. My point is that now we hear about it so often that we are desensitized to an asteroid passing us. And all of these, since I cover this, and I specifically covered this exact kind of headline, there's hundreds per year that are just giant, that would be Earth killers, that go right past us and within, relatively close distances. Most of them are all considered NEO or near-Earth objects. Now, I know that there's a chunk of you who don't even believe in space, and that's totally okay too. What do you think about the future, about if they say one hits us or one hits us? Again, how are they going to prepare for that? That's one thing we've talked about a lot here. FEMA has done several simulations and war games on this subject, and all of them have failed. They basically have no plan. They said there is no current technology that we know of that will protect us. And that will come into play later on in the show, because we're going to talk about something that Russell Brand said that I thought really did kind of click something in my head as far as the timing of all of this UFO stuff. All of the UFO stuff, it's very weird that it happens during CV. It happens during all of these things going on. And how could that fit into the kind of spectrum of everything else, especially power? I thought that it was pretty interesting to say. Maybe it's the good guys trying to unify us under something else. We don't know. Again, there's some different theories there. It says an asteroid as tall as the Seattle Space Needle is expected to pass by Earth on Tuesday from a distance of 4.5 million miles. The 600-foot tall asteroid nicknamed KT-1 was classified by NASA as potentially hazardous object due to its size and proximity by which it will fly past Earth. It will be making the journey near the blue planet at speeds of nearly 40,000 miles per hour, according to the JPL tracking the asteroid. So, again, with this, it's like I've covered these so many times. In fact, I believe if you just go to our website, another cool feature of our website is all of the articles that are archived from the last 2 years. You can go in and search and you can say asteroid, and it will show you all of the shows that I have covered asteroids on, and it will show you all of the links. So you can go to any of those and find the article that corresponds with it. Now, with this, as far as we've covered this, it's like, when is one of these going to hit? When is it not going to hit past us? And they would have already known if there is something coming towards us. Otherwise, again, they've been looking and spotting these things for years and years and years, decades. Do you think that they've already spotted one that will hit, but they can't tell us? Again, would they tell us? Some think, oh, well, there's astronomers looking all over the world. They couldn't keep that a secret. Yes, they very well could. In fact, they could storm, certain observatories with Black Hawk helicopters and then canvass the entire neighborhood and make sure nobody has talked to that person at that certain observatory. If you know what I'm talking about, then you'd think that whole narrative was pretty strange. Anyways, thank you everybody that's coming in. It looks like we already have 1,700. Thank you, everybody on YouTube. Thank you, everybody on DLive. Gregory Good, thank you for subscribing. Pirinola, thank you so much for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout-out. Thermite 911, Rick Fontaine, Sarah Jean, Paw Outdoors, Dark Helmet, Tennessee Tactical. I love that name. Thank you for subscribing there. Bobby Samdumo, Dawn Polk, Joe Clillip, subscribed since the last show. Luis Mashy, thank you so much for your support. And then JJD1913 and Frugal Mom to Declare Monograph, Tom Ludwig. Thank you all for subscribing. I appreciate that. And then if you want to see any of these articles, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com. Again, the number to call if you want to call in on any of these subjects is 2244-006273. Make sure to press option 4 when you get to our phone tree. UFOs are about to make their way to the U.S. Senate. Here's what to know. U.S. intelligence agencies are expected to deliver a report on the unidentified aerial phenomena to Congress next month. Again, this was actually, I believe, Dex, I don't know if this... So, again, a lot of people are saying since it's June that this report's going to come out. Dex, feel free to chime in. I know that you might be on the phone already.
June when it's done. When it's due, sorry. The question is when in June. Some people have speculated the 1st, which is now sort of coming and passing. But we're expecting to see it any day now or sometime this month. And you know how things work in our government, and sometimes they're delayed.
About 9 hours ago, there was a pretty big interview, or at least somebody coming out and saying that it's coming soon. That, I believe, was on pretty much all of the networks. So we'll see. A lot of people expected that it had to be today. I don't know what the exact 180-day is, but I think it falls inside this month. And then U.S. intelligence agencies are expected to deliver a report, and it says that the sparking renewed interest and speculation into how government has handled sightings of mysterious flying objects and if there's any worldly explanation for them. The unclassified report, compiled by the Director of National Intelligence and the Secretary of Defense, aims to make public what the Pentagon knows about unidentified flying objects and data analyzed from such encounters. So knowing that we've known about certain things going on since the 50s, how in the world could they ever come out with all of this? And just because somebody in the government says, hey, you know, we're going to put this into this relief bill, and part of the caveat is that you have to release this information. Do you think that they could truly release everything that they have? If there have been interactions between humans and aliens for the last 50 years or even the last 5 years, there would have to be some sort of incredible secret that would change everything about how we look at the planet. And I mean everything. There have already been statements from officials saying that they believe that we have recovered craft and recovered materials from space that were not made here on Earth. Those kind of statements. Now you have, of course, former presidents saying that, yeah, it's definitely this or that. We had T-Man, our previous president, number 44, or I'm sorry, is it 44 or 45? 45, say that basically it could be, you know, I hate to say it, but, a lot of people's, it's their dreams to have extraterrestrial or fear. And he says, I hope that it doesn't end up being more of a fear. So does that mean a malevolent being, or does that mean that it's actually not, extraterrestrials and it's actually China and Russia? I don't know, but who knows what's going to come out in that report. It says that while UFOs have been part of American mythology for decades, this report is different. Legitimate debates over UFO sightings have gained traction in recent years after several leaked photos and videos from the U.S. Navy's appeared to show mysterious flying objects in American airspace. Last year, the Pentagon declassified three such videos captured by Navy pilots, intensifying the speculation over the incidents, which have now been confirmed by pilots who have observed them and even presidents who have been briefed on them. One thing I also want to point out, if you have seen the 60-minute interview, and I'm just giving you my own opinion on this, and Dex, I don't know if you have watched that full interview yet, but I feel like those people are extremely fake. And I only heard secondhand, but before I watched it, and the woman and the gentleman and somebody else, it just doesn't seem, to me, it seems like it's scripted or like they practiced, or everything about their facial features, how they're remembered, they were paying attention to their body language. In fact, I would love if the body language expert, and I don't know, she may have done it, that one YouTuber that does those videos, I would love for her to actually do a video, if she hasn't already. That would be something perfect for her, on how their eyes move and how they basically remember this stuff. Because we have cues no matter what we do. If we're thinking from memory, or if we're thinking, thinking from a lie or this or that, we do cues. So I would love to see that kind of video. In fact, if you watch her channel, suggest that if she hasn't done it already. Because there's something weird about it. The timing of the entire thing is just super, super weird. I'm going to pull up something here, and then Dex, I don't know if it's in, let's see if it's in here. Let's see here. Let's go to this here.
I did watch that interview, Adam, and I sort of would question it the same way you're questioning it. But one of the things I did was I talked to a friend of mine who was a former F-14 pilot, and he told me, there are definitely things that they've seen, but it's all classified.
No. And I don't doubt, right? I don't doubt that these planes are seeing it, and I don't doubt that pilots see it all the time, and I don't doubt that there is legitimately something going on. Those three pilots, though, why? And how would they get past all of the kind of red tape to kind of say these things? How did three different pilots that have different backstories, different backgrounds in the military, all come out and be able to go on 60 Minutes unless the government wanted them to? Also remember that this is the Pentagon.
I guess in their particular instance, they're talking about a specific incident where that UAP was spiraling up towards them. that whole incident was declassified. So once it becomes declassified, they're allowed to talk about it. I asked him about that. He's like, yeah, everything that I've ever seen, if I've seen anything, but he sort of nodded that he has seen a lot of things. He's not allowed to talk about it unless it becomes public knowledge. It's all classified. So yeah, even though he's not in the service anymore.
Now, do you think that they're looked down upon for going on 60 Minutes? Are they acting that way because they're getting their 15 minutes of fame? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that'll probably be split on opinion from folks, but he didn't really have an opinion on that. I asked him, why don't pilots see it? And he goes, well, they do, but it's just not the same, because when you're in the military, you're responding to something specific, like something picks up on radar and they're sending you to go check it out. So you're really going to these places where these potential UAPs may be. And that's when you're going to end up seeing something where if you're just flying regular routes, odds are you're not going to necessarily run into them as frequently as the military would.
Now, there was a statement that Russel Brand said in one of his videos here. It says the Pentagon and Obama admit UFOs are real. This is about a week old on his channel, and right after the former president here came out and said that, he said something in kind of the middle of the video that really intrigued. He is skeptical as well, and he goes into it. If you've ever only seen his movies or the stuff that he's in or his comedy, you'll know that he's slightly controversial. I don't know what people's thoughts on him are because he is connected with Hollywood, so instantly everybody's like, he's this or that. But if you look at his library on YouTube, he has talked about all of the things that almost none of us are able to talk about, but he is so big and he has a voice and people follow him. TMZ follows him. If they do shut him down for something, it would be a big deal. I don't know if he's gotten strikes before, but he talks about the subjects in a very intelligent way. And the least that even if people don't like him can say is that he's very eloquent, he's very well spoken, and he is very smart. But he said the timing of all of this, he said, what if these tech giants, what if there's somebody in the background, and these tech giants, because they are so big, and the way he put it is that these giants of tech, they built these companies, and because they are so uber rich, that they should run stuff, that they should have power to control and shape the future. And how many of you agree with that? Should somebody who started Microsoft, who has billions and billions of dollars without a college degree, should this person, just because they had a successful company, be allowed to shape the future? If somebody in college was like, hey, dude, let's make something where we can put faces on everybody and go online and talk. Do you think that person should? Or the person who's probably sitting and doing yoga and has 18 face rings and sitting there doing hot yoga with celebrities doing, all of that. Do you think that they should shape it because they have billions and billions of dollars? I don't personally think so. I think some of the think tanks and some of the smarter people in the world should be the ones who shape the future. And since they're shaping our youth, there's a really short time limit before everything goes to crap, in my opinion. The kids have no attention span. They have basically looked at money overall, and now they realize that they know that this next generation may not be able to run stuff. I think that they actually know the consequences of basically turning everybody into vidiots. And I mean vidiots. Everybody is, you've got to the point where children cannot go 5 minutes without their phone. People, everybody, it's so common that everybody knows about it and it's just kind of accepted. But it is extremely scary that children have to be near a charger. My 15-year-old is a victim of this. And, if we go in the car and there's no car charger, we need to get a car charger. We need to get a cord. Can't go 1 minute, or even if it gets low battery, and it's going to get low, and they're worried about it dying possibly in 30 minutes. It's an anxiety thing. That is absolutely terrifying. And how are these people going to focus on long-term things like the future? I don't understand it. Even adults and people in previous generations, we are now hooked on our phones. And that means our attention span is very little. And what kind of work and what kind of actual infrastructure can you put together if you can't even pay attention for half an hour? I don't think it's right, and it's all a byproduct of every part and every type of marketing that is pushed towards us. It has made us to where we swipe, and they know this. Congress has questioned about it. It's an addicting thing. But on this part, what if, and this is just a theory, and again, what if somebody in the government or somebody in the know is trying to put this out there to maybe to get people in a different mind frame, like, hey, there's something completely different here. We don't need to be listening to these guys. We need to be listening to whatever this is. I just thought it was extremely interesting that, quite possibly that they're coming out with this because they have to, because something is on the horizon that's so bad that they're trying to come out and say everybody's got to change their frame of mind. We're talking about events that, if are true and if aren't debunked by people like Thunderfoot, if there really is this kind of stuff, then we are talking about stuff that totally rewrites physics, rewrites everything. We're talking about, we're in a generation that is going to change completely and utterly our entire mind frames. We very well might, and again, maybe in N days. And people don't want to talk about that because you're crazy or you're this or that. But look at what is happening. This event changed the entire world in less than a year. You had everybody whipped. Everybody was doing whatever they said. So if you think that this can't be a massive, global undertaking, then I would say look at who has the power. Who is more powerful than the government right now? Absolutely terrifying. Because if every single person underneath and on every position of the board and every position of the committee and every position of the Congress and Senate, even if they speak out loud and then go in the back room and take a $5 million pocket payment in the Caymans, then we're never going to get anywhere. I think they should do legislation that monitors how they spend their money and how they get their money and how they invest. I think that's the only way we could stop all the corruption. Think about it. All of these politicians, they don't go by their salary of $175,000, $200,000 a year. They don't live the way they do by going by that salary. They go by their salary of all of this other stuff. Anyways, all right, that was a little bit too much on that, but I'd highly recommend you guys go over to his video. Say what's up from the Foogle fam. Maybe if enough people say what's up from the Foogle fam, he will end up seeing this video and coming over and saying hi. I would love an interview with Russel Brand. That would be amazing. I would love to pick his brain. But again, this guy is, he is part of Hollywood, but I think that he is actually one of the few that's taking a lot of risks. Alex Gallegos, thank you so much, says it's not a byproduct, it is the product. Society has been designed to be devolved, like idiocracy. Look at the past few decades. Things are by design, not by accident. I agree with that. Frankie Rios says, sorry, Adam, I can't agree with you. Why in the bloody hell would I want any think tank to dictate my desire or the elites? I guess I'm not trying to say exactly that, but what I'm trying to say is that I think we can all agree that somebody that just built a very successful company doesn't automatically deserve to be powering or controlling the world, and they should not be getting the respect to control nature, to control what's in our bodies, to control pretty much everything. We're talking about, obviously, the same people that everybody is talking about right now. Something big is on the horizon, and people aren't going to figure it out until it's too late. Speaking of which, when will America protect itself against EMP, cyber, and ransomware attacks? Right now, in the last few weeks, in the last few months, and even the last couple years, we have covered all of these different really shady attacks. We haven't had a major T attack since 2001. or at least, major in the sense of, the world just absolutely engulfed in it for years. And the next one, they say, is going to be bigger than anything we've ever seen before. And all of they is the other adversaries threatening to do it. And people say, oh, they're just, it's all talk. It's all, chest pounding or saber rattling. I don't think so. And even if it is planned and totally done on purpose, it's still going to be big. It doesn't matter who's planning it. If I'm affected by it, I'm going to care and I'm going to wonder what the hell is going to happen next. It says a long-term outage owing to EMP could disable most critical supply chains, leaving the U.S. population living in conditions similar to centuries past. Prior to the advent of electric power in the 1800s, the U.S. population was less than 60 million. Think about that. We are sitting at over 370 million right now. It says, and those people had many skills and assets necessary for survival without today's infrastructure. An extended blackout today could result in the death of a large fraction of the American people through the effects of societal collapse, disease, and starvation. Not to mention, of course, not having clean water is the main part why they believe up to 90% of us would perish if an EMP hit. Well, national planning and preparation for such events could help mitigate the damage. Few such actions are currently underway or even being contemplated. This is the Congressional EMP Commission in 2017. So they know and they absolutely see the problem. And again, the last president actually did something to fix it, and they tried undoing that recently. I don't understand why they looked at this. Maybe they looked at the financials of it. Because if you think about it, as far as infrastructure, they take a lot of like, oh, well, it's not broken yet, so let's not fix it. That's our whole thing. If you go to Japan, they prepared, in fact, for the 9.0 earthquake that happened off Japan, that they did not believe would exist. They didn't know that existed. They did not think, no scientist knew that it was capable of a 9.0 until it happened. So they built, but they were one of the most earthquake-ridden islands in the world. So they built all of their buildings up to an 8.6 standard. So all of their skyscrapers at that point, back in 2011, were actually made to withstand huge earthquakes. So a lot of them had all of, the sway, and if you look at the videos from it, it's amazing. In a 9+ earthquake, the things were swaying feet and not toppling over. But they also sign checks for their grandchildren. This is something that's in their culture, it's in their government, and it's in a lot of what they do. If you're Japanese, you'd probably know this. They'll sign something that will benefit not their generation, not the next, but their third generation down. They'll sign something and put infrastructure in if it helps somebody in 70 years from now. Do you believe that US, UK, or even Australia or any of the major countries, do you think many countries are like that? Or do they wait until something happens? It says the people of Rangeley, Colorado are not waiting for Washington to protect them from a great American blackout caused by a solar superstorm or cyber warfare or electromagnetic pulse, EMP attack. Like several other western municipalities, Rangeley, a town of 2,300 in northwest Colorado, home to a community college, has rolled up its sleeves and in the best traditions of Western pioneering spirit, independence, and self-sufficiency, is building a redundant microgrid so they can survive anything. Texas State Senator Bob Hall and his colleagues aren't waiting for Washington to provide for this common defense either. Hall's bill to protect the Texas grid from all of the hazards, including EMP, cyber warfare, and sabotage, recently passed the state Senate. So there are a few that are in the know that are actually trying to do something about it for their local town. But then again, there's not. If you look at all of the elites now that are equipping their massive properties all with this equipment, you say, why is there such an uptick of this? Why are all of these people in the know, in the Senate and in Congress, all preparing for this? Why are they equipping their own places with this? Why are military bases equipping this? Why are government buildings equipping themselves with this? And why is there not massive infrastructure changes happening right now? Especially when you have places like I ran to the store saying that they have a missile underground that is bigger than, some of our smaller cities in the U.S., all with EMP electric warfare. That's why we've warned you about this for now over 2 years. Dex, again, you see a lot of this prep happening. When you get off the phone, it looks like you're online. We have a caller already lined up, so we'll get them on in just a second. Before you come in, though, if you want to protect yourself against this, if you want to get the same kind of protection that these military bases and everybody else is, check out our affiliate. Again, if you have not seen EMP Shield, then you need to go check it out. Ask anybody in our audience that's already got it and how easy they are. Again, if it's for a car, it takes about 5 minutes. If it's for a house, again, you probably want to get an electrician to do it. But again, this is actual protection, and it's the same company that's working with DHS, DOD. This actually protects against all 3 phases, and it helps the show, and you get a huge discount. Right now, they are extending. We weren't doing shows this weekend, so we screwed up. We didn't know that there was a Memorial Day sale. So we asked Andrew and the owners at EMP Shield, which is a family-owned, veteran-owned company, and they extended their sale for our audience. So again, use our code. You'll still be able to get the 15% off on the devices and our $50 off per device. I hope that they change things so you don't even have to get this. But in the meantime, we have to protect ourselves. We can't leave it to somebody else to do it. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP or pick somebody else to support. I would just highly recommend doing this. Again, you can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and you can actually protect your devices against this. All right, Dex, let's get the next caller on. It looks like we have a couple people lined up, some familiar, some not. And while you get them on, Redemption Rose, thank you from NZ, from the Zealand. Thank you so much, Redemption Rose. Again, Eric Milner, thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Looks like a lot of people just joined in. Benny Hill, Russell Branded 33, Worth Advisor. Check out Wrist Tattoo, Who Flung Dung Out. What's going on, Who Flung? And then the Benny Ill Show, Marf, love you. From Who Flung Dung, Tis Nuts over here, lad. I totally believe you, and that's from Europe. Alex Gallegos, thank you again. Amicel Angel, thank you for subscribing. In the Light, Q Kitchen and Beyond, Scorpius Prime, Brian Straub, and Mark Roberts, thank you for subscribing. All right, what is going on? You are live on Marfoogle News.
Much love, Adam. This is Snafu Snaps here. I have 2 really good stories I wanted to share with you guys. Just unbelievable.
Okay, so what's going on?
So the first one, and I'll be very careful on both stories. The first one is a local story. I'm here in a border state, Arizona, and the thingamajiggy that people are taking, and some people aren't. We'll just say it as that. There's what's called incentive programs. We're seeing lottery states pick up, like, hey, if you get the thingamajiggy, you could be put in a lottery. Well, here in the dispensary business, for those who are medical marijuana states or recreational marijuana states, Mint dispensaries, which is a huge chain, they're even East Coast, West Coast. And we know that it's becoming, legal in states throughout the country. Well, they decided to join an incentive program, and they actually have on-site people given the thingamajiggy. And if they do that, those people will get free edibles out of the deal. And that's the incentive. But what people aren't realizing is that these incentive programs and companies that are doing this are raising the numbers up. So the Arizona is going to see a very huge spike of thingamajiggies, people getting it. And I just thought it was very interesting that the dispensary business got involved. I've worked in it for many years in the past, and I just that was a huge story locally for me. I wanted to share.
So with a lot of the incentives, a lot of people say, what is the result of that? Now, of course, you have almost every state doing some sort of state lottery. I just can't believe that people aren't crucial enough to think like, would you, I guess if they said, hey, I'm going to give you a free lotto ticket, a free $1 lotto ticket that very well out of 100,000 people could win $1 million, would you do this? And they would say yes.
And absolutely, it's gonna it's gonna push the numbers up. And I plan on going out there and getting footage and asking them personally, what like, have they done the research themselves, like who's fun, things like that, things that I kind of put out on my channel. But the thing is I just thought it was very interesting, because what's next? Are they going to start saying you get a free tire rotation for an incentive to the sky's the limit?
They probably already have that
as far as the optics go.
Well, so now they've given out free food, they've given out free burgers, they've given out, and you've seen like the governors and things like that saying, here's my thing. Think about that though, for the possible chance of a burger, or for the possible donut, or for the possible lotto ticket, even if it was a $20 lotto ticket, would you do something that might permanently alter you as a person, or even alter you for a year, or alter you for a month, or alter you for 5 days? Would you do that for somebody giving you a lotto ticket?
And there's also research out there that the citizens are doing to find out if this doesn't just affect the person who got the thingamajiggy. There's a lot of talk about what could and could not be, and that's why the censorship's real. But no, I just thought it was interesting because the numbers in the states will go up, and yes, you're right. You get free fries, free burgers, sooner or later they're going to do free massages, whatever it is. Like, it's crazy what they're offering for, like you said, a life-changing decision.
So you said there was 2 stories that you had. Did you do both? I think that was only one, right?
No, that's the first one. The second one is something that you and I and many people have covered: AI technology and drones. And I know you've worked with drones, flying them and getting great footage and stuff. And we know our military has them, and we know that certain countries like China and other countries have tested them to like do fevers to make sure, like, we know facial recognition, all this stuff that could be on a drone, plus militarized. Well, the UN came out with a report saying that a drone, a certain product drone, targeted and killed a human without anyone doing it. It was the AI that did it itself. And this came out, and the UN, and of course articles on it. I think Dex sent you the article about it.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
We've been talking about disease surveillance, so to speak, and some of the things that the future holds. And drones are a huge part. And we talk about Starlink in the sky, but we don't know between the next level that we can't see with the eye. And I know you've talked about it many times, how we could already be gridded up with drones, surveillance drones, at levels that we can't even see with the human eye, and low enough where airplanes don't mess with, the sky, up there. And we know that drones, the capabilities of them, and this is the first report the UN's coming out with saying that it targeted and killed a human, and it was all because of its own AI.
Well, again, I did not hear about this, so thank you for bringing this to my attention. This is right up our alley, too. I've covered all of the AI stuff. So this is scary. This is exactly what we've been talking about.
Yeah, some straight up Terminator, Skylink, Adam. But yeah, you've been talking about this for a long time. I know we have. And it's just interesting because we know that disease surveillance is upon us, I feel. And I just think, with the data collection and just everything we know that's going on in the world, and these drones, and now they're saying, oh, yeah, the AI targeted and killed a human. That's huge.
Well, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. Yes, it is. It's big. And we might even do a whole video on this. Well, thank you, Snaps, for calling in. Again, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Well, you have a great night, and Snaps, keep creating and never stop, okay?
All right. Thank you, guys. Much love, Foogle fam.
All right. Have a good day. I did not know about this. Otherwise, we would have definitely covered this. We've covered almost every kind of AI kind of interaction as far as Ring added facial recognition and the AI programs that they're patenting right now to basically catch criminals, without ever leaving the police station, connecting all of this stuff to local police stations and to local federal agencies and all of this crazy stuff that's going to happen. This is happening right now. You are watching all of this go down, and really people are kind of just sitting back. It's crazy to me. Thank you, Doc Bill. It says an autonomous weaponized hunting down. It says without command for the first time. Well, thank you, Doc Bill. We're actually talking about that right now. Again, good timing on that one. Mark Roberts, thank you for subscribing. Pure Annoy. And then over on DLive, thank you so much for the massive support from Running with Scissors. Running with Scissors, thank you for the several diamonds there. Kelly2334, thank you for supporting us. Susie P says, who's to say government didn't just allow access? And then we have Vault111 says, hey, Marf, praying for your family. Appreciate you. Scooby-Doo Do Right, Miss Me V2, Susie P, Jammer1, thank you for gifting out subs. Heaven's Calling, Brad Woo, B Mark B, Toadman. We've got WYMD. Let's see here. Recalcitrant is over on DLive, and Judy Dow and Griffle are there. Saved by Grace, thank you, and thank you for all of the new followers over there. I appreciate all of you as well. And then Sarah Jean, Paw Outdoors, and Sparkles the Clown. that I have not seen one like that. Gilbert Castillo and Barcode the Gamer, thank you for just subscribing during the show. Let's see here. Benny, and thank you, Eric. Again, nice to have you here. Welcome to the Foogle fam. Thank you for taking the time to do the like button if you haven't already. It is appreciated. It might help. We don't know. But it's something that you can do for free to support. And it's something that may help us reach a new audience. So again, the subjects that we talk about are automatically picked out by AI, targets them, and knocks us off, recommended. So very much appreciated. I think if we can get this to 5,000 likes, it would be greatly appreciated. Who knows though? I don't think we'll be able to do that though. All right. Let's get into it. U.S. says ransomware attack on meat packer JBS likely from Russia. Really? Chicago aboard Air Force One, Brazil's JBS SA told the U.S. government that a ransomware attack on the company that has disrupted meat production in North America and Australia originated from a criminal organization likely based in Russia. Now, I'm not saying Russia's the good guys or anything. In fact, I want to keep it, a lot of people have commented like, oh, you're making Russia the bad guy and you're anti-Russia. I'm not. I actually do try to look at things and try to look from both sides. But I'm also not saying Putin's not a great guy. Neither are any of the presidents that we've ever. I mean, if you think about it, a president or any kind of leader has to make tough decisions to take people out. You're talking about when they want to, take somebody out secretly by secret agencies, they can legally take them out. They can send a team in like SEAL Team 6 and take somebody out. Anybody that they have more power than, and the U.S. has more power than anybody. So you're talking about the people that sign off on that or sit in the situation room and watch it happen on live cameras. It's nuts. I mean, think about that. But with Russia, why is the media and everybody pushing us to hate Russia when you obviously have the other half over there with China and people have, facts that they are doing things? So why are we heavily pointed this way and not looking that way? Dex and I always look at, what is front page news? We show you the front page news and we go, okay, what is on the back page? That's where we need to be looking. Because while they're pointing and pushing in your face, they have a job to do. They're not only trying to make you money, but they're also trying to keep you away from the things they don't want you to see or don't make them money. And the truth very rarely makes them money. And by them, I mean these global elites, the media families, the 6 families that own everything. They want you, again, they're in kind of this balancing act with politicians, in my opinion, because those people that they're paving, they pave and they say, hey, can we get this bill passed? Can we try to help you do that? Can we give you some advertising money? Can we give you some campaign money? And they go, yes, but can you just not go over this one little hump and not go too far? So then they go, okay, it's like a give and take. And we see it all the time. I saw it here in Washington when they passed certain bills, like the alcohol in buildings bigger than 10,000 square feet. It's like that was locally. It actually made nationwide because it was the most money that Costco had ever spent publicly giving money towards something so they could sell liquor in their stores. Before, Washington only had kind of these grandfathered in businesses and licenses for liquor. So to sell liquor, you had to go to a liquor store, which a lot of states probably still have. I don't know how many states still do. In fact, put down below in the chat, does your state still have a little liquor store or a liquor store that does it? Or can you now buy it at every Costco, every big store, any store that's bigger? That's what they did here. But I do know that they paved the lines with that. All of the local, we even had politicians that changed their mind in mid-sentence. They were like, we're against this. And then overnight, we had one interview that says I'm against. Oh, I've looked at it, and now that I've done more research, I'm for it. It's like, what do you think happened there? And what do you think happens with all of this? Just saying to ask questions. With ransomware, this is another sign. This is infrastructure, people. We're talking about food here. We're talking about meat that could supply everything else. When you go up to the top of the triangle, make sure I'm not doing some sort of, what do you call it? Jay-Z, Mason sign. But if you go to the top of that pinnacle, you have this whole thing goes down to everybody else. And when you take out the top of that pinnacle or that pyramid, everything else crumbles. We are seeing massive hacks on all of these different infrastructure pieces. When do you think? Do you think it's going to be long before it's a major one that affects our power or affects our water systems or affects things that keep making the world go round or flat, whatever you think? They will have comfy places that are protected. And by they, I mean the richest people that may benefit from something like that. Power structures are being reorganized right now, in my opinion. Justin C. says, nothing meat shelves, big coolers at my local markets are almost empty. Anyone else have the issue? Thought I would hop in from D Live and show support. Well, Justin C., I appreciate that. Maria Rebecca Gonzalez, thank you for subscribing. Jace or Jace, thank you so much for subscribing. Raven Mulberry, what do you think? Pop in the chat. I'm going to pull up the chat here. In fact, I'll pop it on screen. Let's see if we can... And then running with scissors, suit up and boot up and get the armor of God on. And then Susie P, thank you. Kelly2334, thank you, and thank you. Between you and Susie P, thank you. I really appreciate your support. Heaven's Calling, Brad W, B Mark B, and Bear Claws and Bear Lover. We've got a lot of bears in there. Okay. Says White House spokeswoman Karen Jean-Pierre said that the United States has contacted Russia's government about the matter and that the FBI is investigating. The White House has offered assistance to JBS, and our team at the Department of Agriculture have spoken to their leadership several times in the last day. JBS notified the administration that the ransom demand came from a criminal organization likely based in Russia. The White House is engaging directly with the Russian government on this matter and delivering the message that the responsible states do not harbor ransomware criminals. So are we setting up to get into some sort of conflict with these guys? Dex, again, if you have anything to pop in about, you may. And
yes,
then,
I do. So one thought that came to my mind is there's two things that we have talked about for the last, 3 months now that are really big topics for the 2030 time period about getting rid of. One of those being gas and the other one being meat. And the two latest attacks, one right after the other, has been a gas pipeline and now meat.
When the people that we talk to and the companies that we talk to and everybody that, do you think that we will see a massive hack that affects our global infrastructure at some point?
Yeah, I think that this is going to become the norm in the sense that we're gonna hear these week after week, or at least every 2 weeks we're gonna hear about a major attack. We've heard them almost weekly now, but when they attack significant things that have a big impact, like taking down meat processing, where it's so bad that it's going to affect what is showing up in the store. I mean, Costco sells a whole lot of pork under the name Swift, and that's coming from JBS. So that won't be there. And I imagine it'll probably be gone tomorrow because everybody's going to go panic buy it and throw it in their freezer. So, that kind of stuff is when those things happen, they're really big. And I think that they get a lot of attention. So those that are doing the hacks will continue to do them, and they will go big like that.
Okay,
sure.
So let me ask the audience here, and we've got the chat up here. Before Solar Winds, did we hear about these every week? No? Huh. So do you believe that maybe Solar Winds, since it got into all 5 branches of the military, the Pentagon, and over 500 of the top 500 companies, in fact, we don't even know how many, but they know that in the top 500, almost all of them were affected. So that means everywhere that you may have signed up for like a savings card or Target or QFC or Safeway or any of these stores that you've signed up and put your personal information, possibly even have your credit or debit card in files, Solar Winds got into that. So we don't know if these are related, but all I'm asking is, did we have this every single week and a major infrastructure damaging thing before Solar Winds? Now, they say Solar Winds was the actual country of Russia, but yet all of these little attacks are just little groups. So we don't panic and say, oh my gosh, something's happening. What is it really? And would China not be smart enough to say, make it look like it came from a different country? I mean, what do you think if they were sitting around a table and they were stupid? Do you think that they might go, how could we make it look more like it's from Russia? Oh, we could not affect any of the computers that have Russian language as their first language. Yeah, that's genius. It's too obvious. That's all I'm saying. That's my opinion. This article and more are on the website. In fact, if you go over there right now, there's also web-only content that's too hot for TV. This is coming. I really rarely say, I was always afraid of getting backlash from saying things. I believe that there is a big event coming. And I know that most of you agree with me, so I'm going to have to go with the most of you instead of worrying about what a few of you say. You can say it's fear-mongering. You can say that it's crying wolf. One of these days, we're going to meet the wolf. And some of you will be prepared for it. And you don't have to be afraid of it, because guess what? You could literally perish walking across the street. You could be diagnosed tomorrow with cancer. Again, you could find out you are going to have 4 months to live. Are you going to sit there and live your life afraid of when you're going to die? Or just try to live your life the best way you can? And by that means, if some major disaster happens and you can live comfortably even after that disaster happens, then I think that that's a smart idea. And that's the main point of my channel and most others that are out here telling people to prepare and to think about it. Plan with your kids. Nobody that I know is doing drills with their kids. If your kid's at school and an earthquake hits, what are you going to do? Have you thought about that? Have you actually practiced? Heck, do something with the school and say, hey, we're doing something with our family. We're practicing a drill early in school. I'm going to have to come and grab them at this time. Have the kid come out. Do drills that actually make sense. Nobody's doing it. They might write it down on paper, but you physically have to practice for things like that. In the Northwest, we're going to have a Cascadia Subduction Zone 9.0, like what Japan had, with a guaranteed tsunami, and it's coming. But yet people are not listening. Half of the people here don't even know what the hell Cascadia Subduction is. If you don't and you live in the Northwest, then you are illy prepared. DoD agencies to invest more than $1 billion in low Earth orbit space technology. We're seeing all of this happen just very quick. Technologies developed by SDA, MDA, and DARPA are expected to transition into larger Space Force programs. So isn't it funny people made fun of Space Force when the certain president nobody liked put it out there, but now they're pumping it. So what was the meeting that happened that the 45 ended up, what did they end up talking about that made them say, yes, we need a Space Force. We need something out in space. And then DOD comes out and says that they actually weaponized space and all of these things have happened. Something serious is going on, and the public we're just meandering around. They're not going to let us know anything. The B administration defense proposal budget for fiscal year 2022 seeks more than $1.2 billion for military space systems in low Earth orbit. According to budgets documented released May 28th, nearly $900 million of that investment is for the Space Development Agency's communication network in low Earth orbit, known as the Transport Layer. The Missile Defense Agency is seeking about $300 million for space sensors, and Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency is requesting $47 million to deploy experimental satellites in the low Earth orbit under the Blackjack program. All of this sounds weird and super freaking crazy. First of all, what is going to happen that they're putting this massive amount of money in and all of a sudden they're pushing all of their money into space? Why are they working on this communications platform? Is it a communications platform that won't be affected by some of the events that might happen? Why are they investing in a system that can get weapons and tanks anywhere in the world in a matter of minutes? Says these agencies report to the Office of the Secretary of Defense and are not part of the U.S. Space Force, which has its own budget for research, development, and procurement of new systems. So they're saying that this is separate. This is even more, this is totally separate. So Space Force has their own budget. This is on top of that. It says the Pentagon, same Pentagon that's releasing UFO stuff right now, is seeking $936 million. Do you think maybe the UFO stuff might tie into that later when they release this? They say, oh, well, we need money because we've got to invest it and something's happening? Maybe, I don't know. It says $936 million, almost $1 billion for the SDA, about $600 million increase from 2021. That includes $808 million for research, development, testing, and evaluation. It says $53 million for operations and maintenance and $74 million for procurement. It says this is the first time SDA gets a separate funding line for procurement. Why? The agency's large spending boost was expected for 2022 as SDA prepares to launch the first batch of its Transport Layer satellites and moves ahead with the procurement of up to 150 satellites that would launch by 2024. Dex, do you know what we're talking about here? Like, what is the Transport Layer? Can you explain to people in simple terms what that is?
Well, I don't know why they're calling it that, other than I know that there's that one project that we talked about, and I know it's in this budget proposal, and you just mentioned it a minute ago, was to transport a whole C-17's worth of cargo and troops in minutes across the globe. And they're going to do that by going up into LEO and back down. using some sort of, long range, rocket.
So we're talking about getting getting equipment, getting weapons, getting troops, possibly. They're talking about equipment, vehicles, launching it anywhere in the world in minutes. Why do they need that now? And think about that. That's a huge boost from 400 million to almost 1 billion, $600 million. Follow the money, people. What the hell is about to happen? And if you don't see that things are turning right now, look at what happened with CV. Look at everything that's happened so far. You don't think that the world could be turned on its head in a single day? Then you're closing your ears and going, la, 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 la. We all think that we are so smart and so mighty, but the general public, I believe, are just so incredibly held down by their own thoughts of what is actually real and what's happening, by their training of years and years in school of being lied to about what is really happening around us. It's just insane. Media and everything that entertains us also makes us stupider. Like saying stupider, because stupider isn't a word. It says the Pentagon's $8.9 billion funding request for MDA includes $292.8 million for space program. So again, this is a good one. MDA is seeking $260 million for the hypersonic and ballistic tracking space sensor. This is what I talked about before it happened. This is what I was exactly talking about with the entire SpaceX and launching this system that's going to go around our Earth. They're talking about hypersonic and ballistic tracking space sensor, HBTSS. That can also track asteroids. Told reporters May 28 that this funding allows the agency to keep 2 contractor teams working on completing payloads to be launched to a low orbit in fiscal year 2023, as well as ground systems. The idea is to keep competition going given the complexity of this mission. This is the only program within the space portfolio that provides fire control quality data. This data can be used to track the trajectory of maneuvering hypersonic missiles so it can be intercepted. Well, why do they need that right now and fast? Boeing, all of these local companies, I know people that work there, they said that everything is just in hyperdrive right now, and they're working with almost every agency. Why? Why is Raytheon so busy that they're putting missiles out in their parking lot, people? Think about it. Let's see here. Benny Hill says, when your ticket's up, 'tis up, not going to cower in fear. My immune system is awesome. Alicia Dawn May, thank you for subscribing. Vault 111. Hey, Marf, appreciate all you do. Well, thank you, and thank you for your support there. I appreciate it, each and every one of you. Thank you, guys. Big shout out to everybody that's here and not here. Salta Paul in the parking lot. Yes. Yes, last year there were so many missiles that they were stored in the parking lot that they couldn't get the trucks to pick them up fast enough. They were making one, Dex, do you remember what was it, every 30 or 45 seconds? Or was it a minute and a half or something?
Yeah, I don't remember the time, but I remember the length was many, many, many miles long of trucks trying to come in. And yeah, they were like every 5 seconds or 10 seconds. It was a very low, maybe 30 seconds, but it was very low how often those missiles were being created. But yeah, those trucks were lined up for miles to get in there.
By the way, Jammer, I know this was just a side thing, but Jammer, one of my mods, said that gas came down to, what was that, $2.87? Isn't that insane that if it comes down to $3, we're all excited? Like, that's insanity. Shelly Cox says we have to overcome. Billie Jean says stupider rhymes with Jupiter. Yeah, it does. I'm going to use that later. Robert, I'm in a cave junction, Cheryl Kerr says. Millie McLarkin says spending money to take down America. Jabbers Justice says, hey, Foogle fam, exfil imminent. Exfil imminent, what a name too. We overcome through Jesus Christ. Jason Jackson Wright says stupid is as stupid does. I love it. Be borrowed. How about stupid is what stupid does? We're all thinking on the same train here. Triple dipple ripple shipple, says Rizar. Thank you for that lovely contribution, Rizar. Always a pleasure. Thank you for being OG Foogle fam too. Stacy Little says raptured ready. Plasma Cat says conspiracy theories make people stupider. So I think the big argument should be, what is theory anymore? What is theory anymore? That's what's nuts. The outbreak fears in China as first human case of H1N3 confirmed. We see this happen a lot where these pop up and then they go down. I don't know where this one's going, but I would have your head on a swivel. Obviously, this may turn into an event. I would say, please be ready for this to be in the news cycle. This is early on, so it's too early to tell. But watch. Most of these end up popping up and they peak. What happens around that is what we look at. What is back page news when this is front page in your face? It says that China has confirmed that the world's first human case of the H10N3 has happened. It says a 41-year-old man from the eastern city of Zhenjiang developed a fever and other symptoms and was hospitalized on April 28th, according to China's National Health Commission. So keep that in mind. So if that's going to possibly pop up, is that the thing that people are fearing? Is that the thing that this whole event was leading up to? Is this what they feared? I don't know what's going to happen here, so we'll just say to keep your eyes peeled. Dex, if you have anything to say about that, you can.
I mean, we've heard them say that the next one will be bad, right, or will be even worse, and we've heard that come from people like Gilly Bates and others, right? So pay attention. This may not be it. That's fine, but it may be too.
By the way, big shout out to CJ Blaze. If you guys have not checked out CJ Blaze's channel, awesome stuff there. Thank you for modding. Let's see here. Robert Omo, thank you so much. CP, Stacy Little, Buggin, and Millie McArkin. Let's get the next caller ready. Thank you so much, CJ, for popping in there. Thank you. You have been incredibly loyal and, every night. Thank you so much, CJ. Okay, and then Jin G, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Make sure to support your mods on both platforms there. All right, we've got Kim O'Donnell. What's going on?
Hey, Marf.
So what's happening?
I've been dying. I've been dying to call in for a while now.
All right, well, let's hear about it.
But I let the fear get me.
Oh, that's all right.
So, yeah, that's all right. But anyway. So, I told Dex that I didn't have really topics in mind, but really quick, I wanted to address two quick things. Someone in your chat, I'm watching on DLive, and they referenced Goodbye Then, if you know who I'm talking about, is the destroyer of systems, as in hackadoodle-doo. Get it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm really inclined to believe that as well. And I'm gonna shoot straight with you. I'm not a UFO girl, but I don't let that shy away from your channel, because I don't see you as fearmonger. I see you as very wise and like throwing the call out there before the army shows up, so to speak. I wish I could get my husband to prepare, and that's like, I'm a theorist, if you know what I mean. And so I'm taking steps to gather what I can, candles, flashlights, batteries, that kind of thing. Also, I've listened to you because I'm in Utah, and I've heard about that fault of the West Coast, and I was wondering, I know nothing about that other than what I've limitedly heard from you. Is Utah in danger of that? Because if that's the case,
it's going to shake. So they say you'll feel it in New York. So that it'll be felt 3,000 miles away. So I don't know what, because it's not like a regional. So you're in Utah, right? What's one of the what's two of the major cities in Utah? Just two random cities in Utah. Salt Lake City, and then
Salt Lake City.
What's the second one?
Oh boy. Well, if you want to talk tourism, Moab.
Moab.
That's
okay.
Like 6 hours down south.
Okay, so in Moab and in Salt Lake City, there's an earthquake that's in Salt Lake City. That's a regionalized earthquake that happens in Salt Lake City. You don't feel the same thing in Moab. In Moab, you might feel it, but it will just be a little one. This is the kind of earthquake that's going to be the same. If I'm standing in Seattle and somebody else is standing in Oregon, a whole state away, they're going to have the exact same kind of earthquake. The entire country is on a plate, and that plate is going to move. So, in fact, you are going to shift. The whole thing's going to shift 45 feet. So, one thing I would say is just to prepare, anyways. Depending on how close you are to the border, either way, you're going to have people walking from Washington if it's worst case scenario into Utah. So I would just be prepared to defend whatever you have if worst case scenario happens.
Okay, so are you saying like the foundation of my house is going to move 45 feet to the left or right?
No, the whole plate should be moving. So it wouldn't be very noticeable.
Plate.
Okay. You will be fine.
Okay.
But if you have a pool or something like that, I would not be surprised if we have footage all over the country of pools sloshing around and chandeliers swinging.
Me and my husband do not have a chandelier. We do not have a pool. We have lakes here, and we're a ways from Utah lakes. So I think in that sense we'll be okay.
No, you should be fine.
You relaxed my fears. You relaxed my fears a little bit on that. I'm grateful for that, but at the same time, I'm terrified because I have all my family and friends on the West Coast in multiple states. Next thing is I have like zero experience putting together a YouTube channel. I have no money for like equipment that I see you and Dex have. Can you throw together a YouTube channel with a cell phone?
Yep. The channel you're looking at right now got to 60-something thousand without a computer. My main channel got to 60,000 subscribers on my cell phone on my Samsung S8.
Are you kidding me? 60,000? Wow.
No, that's why everybody
that's amazing, man.
That's why everybody that is old OG subscriber says, I remember you from when you were doing videos in your car. I did everything with the cell phone. And one thing to know, if you start a channel, obviously if people support what you're doing, if you're doing something that people find valuable, one person helped after another. One person helped me with my first mic. They sent me an actual mic, Alien Investigations. They were bigger than me, and they actually helped me as a smaller YouTuber. And then people helped me with different stuff. So that's how you got to do it. We were flat broke when I started my channel. I was working 2 jobs, and I was working 13-hour days and doing it in my 15-minute breaks. Wow. So anybody can do it, and that's why I've always suggested that you do. And we'll more than lovely send a love mob over. So start it and call back.
Oh, I would love that. I gotta figure it out. So that's great. Also, another thing I want to throw out there, I kind of threw it out in chat. I think you were on last night. Because I'm in Utah. Oh my goodness, Utah represented last night. And so I kind of threw it out in chat. I had a few bites, but I'm trying to put together I don't know if you talked about months ago, people in the fam in whatever state reaching out to others in the fam, and that's what I'm kind of doing. So I don't know how people can.
So let me
I guess
let me just stop you there. We're gonna have another platform, and we're gonna need a lot of mods and a lot of volunteers. If you want to volunteer for Utah, just let us know. Kim, we're out of time, but again,
I would be.
If you want to get Utah going, then we can talk about that because again, once the platform is launched, we are basically making our own.
Yes.
We had a Discord, and that Discord got taken. So, Kim, it was such a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, thank you, Marv. You're a blessing, man. I love you and your family, and I am a believer, and I stick with independent news because God knows MS whatever will say nothing.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you, Kim O'Donnell.
Right, thank you. From
Utah. I appreciate you. And again, the platform will be out soon. We're in the final stages of it. It's taken a lot longer than we thought. Again, that's why we will need a lot of help, and it's why I'm very thankful for the people that have stuck around through thick and thin. Again, thank you, everybody. B Borrowed, Jen Boyles, Lottie Mama, thank you. And then Doc Bill, massive support from Canada, says the Van Allen probes data show that the inner edge of the outer belt is, in fact, highly pronounced for the fastest, highest energy electrons. This edge is a sharp boundary that under normal circumstances, the electrons simply cannot penetrate. Oh, no, I totally get you. And there was somebody else that was commenting too. As long as you do it in such a nice way, it doesn't matter what your theories are. We have mods that believe in different shapes of planet, and it doesn't matter. We all get along. That's the thing. Even if somebody says something that triggers you, then that should make you even more want to try to talk to them and try to get past that and go, keep talking. Like, if people don't see the problem with today, the fact that nobody can disagree without just completely blowing up and just walking the opposite direction, then nothing gets done. I believe that the powers that be want us to be completely divided and completely separated. If you disagree with one thing, that's it. It's the same kind of thing as cancel culture. You say one thing, you're done. They're training us to do that to each other because we're powerful together. We outnumber everything. Us as civilians outnumber any power in the world, any conglomerate, anybody. If we were all on the same page, there would be nothing that could stop us. But unfortunately, we're all divided by one subject or another, and we're being pushed to do that. So when you get triggered, think of it as you're weaker. Every time you're triggered by somebody that says something that you disagree with, especially some of the people that believe the planet, this filter word here, is this way, they come in and they're just aggressive and super angry and it can't possibly happen. I think part of it is that they have researched it, they believe it in their heart, and they don't want to be called crazy. Nobody wants to be called crazy. Just in a personal experience, I don't know if you've ever had friends or a friend that says, they've had a ex-girlfriend or something, or somebody, or an ex-husband, that the last thing you want to do is call them crazy. Because if you do that, it's real crazy. Same thing. I think that everybody has a valid point here, and if you've done your research and you believe that, that's totally fine. But if other people's don't, you don't have to force people to do that. Think about it in a religion standpoint. Are you going to sit there and force somebody to be your religion? Or if you're going into chats like being aggressive and saying, it is this, it is that, are you no different from the guy in the corner saying, repent now? Think about it in that direction. Like, you don't have to force everybody to believe what you believe, even if you believe it is 100% right. If I'm wrong, that's great. We'll all find out soon. I think that with this space tourism stuff, we'll see, and the argument will be over. So then it all can be put to sleep and everybody's good. But none of us have been to space. The only people that have, you might know somebody who knows somebody who's cousins of an astronaut, or you personally met an astronaut. But I have not talked to a single person who's an actual astronaut that would talk to me. They're all the very select few that have been 12 years in college, and they're, part of Harvard. And think about it, the colleges they're picked from. There's very rarely, have you ever heard of an astronaut that's like, oh yeah, he went to a Colorado community college? No. They always go to the elitist schools, and then they get picked straight out of there. So if I haven't been to space and you haven't been to space, then let's stop arguing about it. Let's cover what they're telling us, and then look at what they're telling us, and look at what is about to happen. Look at the stuff that's going up, the construction that's going on, and that's making us all buzz. Think about that. Everybody's too busy arguing to look at what's going on around us. Charlotte Knight, thank you so much for subscribing. Grayman Prepping, I love the name. Thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show or even after, you will get a shout out. Alicia Dawn May, thank you so much. 28 minutes ago subscribed. Raven Mulberry, thank you. Again, thank you. Vault 111 says, hey Marf, appreciate. Thank you again. I just really appreciate that support there. And then over on DLive, we have Adam 112 or 1 Adam 12, Matrix 45, Bear Lover 92,000. Thank you so much. Griffle, thank you for being here. And Jammer 1, thanks for gifting out badges. And let's see here. Let's see. Popping in. We have 11 new people that just joined. NPET Cambio. Thank you for celebrating anniversaries here. Scooby-Doo Do-Right, Recalcitrant, Jenny from Texas, Deep State of Mind, Sharon the Fam. Thank you for being a badge holder there. Let's see here. And Priscilla R. Thank you so much. Hey, Priscilla R. Durango X Nubaru, Bear Head. I love it. Thank you guys. Quantum Cat. Much love, Foogle family. All right, and then before we get on, we're going to get Almost Homestead on. We have a few more stories here. Before that, though, make sure to go check out NordVPN. If you do this, you end up supporting the show and getting a giant discount. I think it's a win-win for everybody. If you do not have a virtual private network with everything that we've shown you, I don't know why people are not doing a VPN. What it does is it hides your IP address, but it also makes it harder for you to hack. It can protect your identity online. Everything that you are doing is getting logged. So your personal name goes out in there, and all of these governments and communities and different things are monitoring everything you're doing. If you do a VPN, it basically puts your address somewhere else. You can say, I'm in France or I'm in Australia. One thing that was very interesting during yesterday's show, I forget who said it. Anybody can chime in the chat. If you remember who commented yesterday that you can no longer, it was Amru W Subaru WRX. You can no longer put your NordVPN in Russia. That is kind of telling right there. Again, but NordVPN, you get a giant discount. They're doing a sale right now. I believe it's now just recent. It changes a lot. So again, go check it out. marfooglenews.com/VPN. You'll get a special discount through us, and you'll help the channel. We are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network. We are supported by the public. So thank you. And on top of that, for a 2-hour, 3-hour show, we have less than probably 10 minutes of ads. So we do appreciate those of you who realize that. All right. U.S. firm designs 520 feet mega vessel galleon with 4 giant sails and 8 decks. Okay, so this is a trip. We've covered these massive elite, ships a lot, but very few times do they actually include so many pictures. This one shows you what these elites like, the Amazons and the Microsofts are buying. And I told you there's a secret community of these people, and nobody even sees these things. It's almost like they're hidden from the public. They have actual storage that's, people can't even see. If you've ever seen one of these super yachts in real life, and I'm not talking about a big yacht, I'm talking about a super yacht, the kind of yachts that have multiple full basketball courts, multiple tennis courts, that are big as cruise ships and are manned by more people than in your average hotel. The Spanish Armada super yacht is one hell of a boat. U.S. firm designs a 520 feet mega. So remember when we said that this kind of Earth killer that just went by is the size of the Space Needle? The Space Needle is 600 feet. So about 80 feet shorter than that, you've got this super yacht as big as a skyscraper. It says with 4 giant sails, and it says if you're super rich seafarer with an average interest in sports and luxury living, then this mammoth 8-deck super yacht might be the lavish mega vessel for you. The Galleon, which is the largest design so far in the Goliath series of super yachts, is sure to provide hours of entertainment as it comes with a full-size basketball court, a tennis court, and 4 handball courts below deck. It says the luxurious ship, which is a modern version of the Spanish 16th century galleon cargo carrier, is perfect for any multimillionaire hosting extravagant parties as it can accommodate up to 200 guests and as well as 150 crew members. Look at this thing. So first of all, this doesn't even look real. But this is what they just designed. And I remember people were arguing with me when I said Greenbrier had room for 10 helicopters. I think I even said 8. And they said, oh, I looked at the building and it couldn't have. This is a huge, giant building. This ship, it says, has room for 10 helicopters to land on it. And if you've got 200 super guests attending, then you would need it. In fact, you probably need more than that. The Galleon, which is the largest design so far, this is just incredible. I mean, this is just like mind-blowing. And you don't get the scale of size until you start zooming in. These are mini yachts. There's 6 yachts on the deck. There's 6, basically what any normal person could afford. There's a little freaking golf course, I believe that is. I don't know what the hell that is. Helipad. And even planes can dock. It says its striking red and white design as well as 4 other giant sails give the modern super yacht the appearance of a multi-decked sailing ship that wouldn't have looked out of place in the Spanish Armada. Look at this. That is just so flippin' nuts. It says the luxurious super yacht is perfect for any millionaire, blah, blah, blah. It boasts space for 10 helicopters in an enclosed hangar. Look at that. This is just nuts. Look at the size of it compared to this hotel. Look at that. This is just so epic. So I'll go back to this because I don't think I was full screen. These are the in Abu, or what do you call it? In the oil countries, this is the royalty, right? They can afford this kind of stuff. It's where you have so much money, it doesn't even make sense. Look at the size of it compared to normal boats. I mean, just insanity. Wanted to show you though, here's the design. It says full basketball court, full tennis court, handball courts. I mean, like, this is what these people, that's why when they look at a normal average person making average money, we're just nothing. We're literally nothing to them. We're not even their servants. They respect their servants more than regular people. It's just like everybody below. I mean, just unbelievable. What do you think of this super yacht? Would you spend $2 billion on a super yacht like that? If you had $3 billion, would you spend 2 of it on that? Who knows? I love Dosh Hounds says, love the show always. Well, thank you, Quantum Cat. Trudy W says, great show. Thank you. Hey, appreciate your support over on D-Live. I love Beagles. Pasaya Bazert, thank you for following. Chrissy27, thank you. And thank you, Ganja Seed Bank. Thank you, Marf. Well, thank you. Thank you for your support. Joe R., Judy Hallett, thank you for subscribing. Joy Ann Harewood just subscribed 7 minutes ago. Charlotte Knight, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, and then we have U.S. raises concerns over Chinese military presence at Cambodia Naval Base. Dex, before we get Almost Homestead on, now, what does this say to you, and what did I say to you before the show about the Cambodia military presence?
Well, I mean, China being present in another base is always a warning sign, right? Like something's going down. The United States is alarmed by the presence of Chinese forces at Cambodia's naval base. The U.S. State Department said in a release after the meeting between Deputy Secretary Wendy Sherman, Prime Minister Hun Sen in Phnom Penh. Is that really how you say it? Hun Sen in Phnom Penh. It says Deputy Secretary Sherman expressed serious concerns about the PRC's military presence and constructions of facilities at Ream Naval Base at the Gulf of Thailand. It says she sought clarification on the demolition of 2 U.S.-funded buildings at Ream without notification or explanation, and observed that a PRC military base in Cambodia would undermine its sovereignty, threaten regional security, and negatively impact U.S.-Cambodia relations. So basically saying Cambodia is housing these troops and this military presence, and nobody knew about it. So they're raising flags and saying, what the hell is going on here? What do you think about it? Does this make any sense to you? Are you from Cambodia? Do you know of anything? Do you know friends or family that are there that can tell you what is happening there? Let us know. Email me at adam@marfooglenews.com or dex@marfooglenews.com. Or better yet, make sure to do both. Correctional officers who slept well J.E. EpiPen hanged himself, planned to slam federal prison system at trial. It says that 2 federal correctional officers who neglected their duties okay. Well, Jeff took his own life inside a troubled lower Manhattan jail, planned to defend themselves as scapegoats for a deeply dysfunctional system had they gone on trial. So first of all, these guys are getting scapegoated. I think even the most respected people looked at how it happened, how the footage was scrubbed, how the footage disappeared, how there was a log of somebody leaving at that time, all this weird stuff that happened, even the pictures of everything. Even the most respected people said that they believed that this was a job, like something happened. This man had information on not just your like average millionaire or billionaires. He had information on princes, kings, royalty. He could have single-handedly disgraced the royal family in a lot of ways. Again, if you're from the UK, I'm not trying to say that the whole family's disgraced, but again, what if he ended up coming out and disgracing the entire family? What if more than, Prince Andrew or whatever it was in there? We don't know, because he got taken out. You would think you would have some sort of kill switch, or Ghislaine would, but these people housed parties for the richest and most elite, gross things that have ever happened. And if you saw that island, it was like Moloch and Satan stuff. Like, it was just the creepiest thing you've ever seen. This man somehow was on watch, suicide watch, then off of it, then whatever. I mean, the whole thing was just absurd. And then ended up actually taking his own life. Okay. And then they're going to go charge this, but now they're going to say something and probably get off of it, right? Are these the scapegoats? What do you think about this? Dex, what's your opinion on this? Well, it sounds to me like they're definitely trying to paint a picture of a bigger problem in that system, in the sense that it's rampant with either corruption or just lack of following process and lack of doing the right things, but there's plenty of questions around, whether he was taken out or whether he was taken out alive, right? So we'll never know, because the powers that be, they're not going to give us the truth on this one.
No, they're not. And this, I just think, is just complete and utter, theater. Out of everything that's, this isn't a distraction. This is just straight up taking something and putting it on paper so it's there so they can say, oh, no, we took care of it, or this happened, right? This was on paper. This is just the craziest theater I've ever seen. Do you think that they're going to get charged? That's my question. Let's get Almost Homestead on. Almost Homestead. You can pop in right now. Corey Okafor, thank you for subscribing. Joe R., thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. And everybody that popped in. Michael Ray says, hey, Adam, Dex, and fam, God bless you all. Only news I watch and a few others. Pray for Jacob is. I haven't watched that last video. I don't know what happened there. Bat Pero loves you, Marf and Dex. Well, thank you. All right, let's get Almost Homestead on. And when they pop in, I think
I had a technical issue. We're getting them on.
I love it. Somebody said Bill Gates with naked swim parties. So gross. Oh, Maria. That's awesome. Kayleen Martinez. Heck no, they won't be charged. They are all on the global team. I don't think those men were. I think they're being scapegoated, but they were told, hey, don't worry, we'll take care of it. It's just for public. You're going to be taken care of for the rest of your life, but you have to live with the shame of being those guys or whatever. Something like that, in my opinion. LB Rules, what's going on? Next, they will be giving season tickets to EpiPen Island to take the... No, they'll be getting free burgers in the Moloch den, right? Juan Lujan. I love your name. Juan Lujan. Kirk Thompson, straight out of Orlando. Kirk, I think it was you that... I love how you were saying something about that stuff earlier, but you were so respectful about it. That's what I'm talking about. We can all agree to disagree and do certain things. So, Cypher9, Christina Faith, WT, Toxic World is here. Bye, Kathy. Is Kathy leaving, or is that I don't know if the kids could say that. Bye, Kathy. Almost Homestead. You are live on Marfoogle News.
Hey, Adam. How's it going?
How are you doing? It's nice to talk to you. Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a delay. I'm up here in the mountains, but so what I was calling about is, we bought our cabin as a little vacation rental, and we don't have a lot of money, so it was like this totally dilapidated cabin that we had to rebuild and everything. But the idea was we're going to come up here, go all in. We sold our house, and we were going to make it kind of a little escape where if things go down, we could have family up here and everything. But after everything went down recently, and a lot of our family is on a different page, and there's no talking to them. It's like they're brainwashed. It's just, now I have to question, and I kind of wanted to bring it up because anybody who's doing kind of prepping and getting ready for stuff, I think something you got to think about is who can you trust to have at your home base, and even family members. Can you trust them? Which sounds really bad, but I mean, it's just crazy times.
Well, and it's it's so polar opposite too. It's just absolutely opposite ends, and nobody can talk about it. People get mad. They start yelling, and they just shut down. People shut down now. It's really bad.
Yeah. I have a nephew that I was really close with, and try to talk to him, and he's just got an answer for everything. He's not hearing what you're saying. He's just spitting back the narrative at you, and I just gave up. But
because they have a narrative for everything.
Recently, my wife got.
By the way, they have an answer for everything.
For sure.
If you Google any theory, they have made sure to put out a full article that looks representable that looks respectable for them to quote, and it's like, okay, well, where's the information for that come from? Oh, well, it's somebody respectable. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So my wife, we have 2 kids, and you met our oldest son, and we have a younger son who's a few years younger than him. But my wife got our younger son a job at her place of employment. Our youngest son worked there for about a week, and he saw a few people not wearing the old face covering. So he filed a complaint with the state and quit right on the spot, and put my wife in a really bad spot. She had to go to HR and explain to him, say, I'm sorry. It was just like this mess, but
this was sorry, who was this that did this? This was your son?
It was our youngest son. You met our oldest son at the grocery store one night. He came up to you and said, my dad was watching your channel. But our youngest son, he's on the exact opposite page of us. And so, we rarely see him. He would rarely talk to us.
Okay, so you're in Washington. Have you noticed that people are not, that nobody says anything? In fact, so Target in Washington, the security guard was not wearing one. And he's right as you walk in. Obviously, if he's not, then you're not expecting anybody to say anything. Recently, I have not been approached once, except for people that do not have it on either, and they're like right on. Or this one guy said, hey, you're the only person I've seen other than myself not doing it. He had his whole family, but just so you know, there's employees now not wearing it, security guards, other people. So you're saying he actually called and said, why did he make this big fuss? How that must hurt, doesn't it?
Yeah, there were a couple people not wearing the face coverings, and he was totally offended because he's just like, it's like their religion, they're just totally sucked into it, and if you're not going along with it, you're bad, evil. And so he called in, complained on the company, quit on the spot. Just crazy. And then I was talking to my mom the other day, and she starts talking about we were talking about the economy and stuff, and she referred to B-Man as Uncle Jojo, and I was like, what? And I tried talking to her, and she's like, oh, you're one of them, and she couldn't get off the phone fast enough. And I haven't talked to her since. And my own mom is like, it's just so weird.
Well, so you can disagree, or you can somebody sent me an email and said, can you not talk about JB? He is a good man. This is a person who does not know JB personally. Any politician who's been in for 50 years, regardless if there was this argument about whether he, all of the argument about if he was supposed to be there or not. Besides that, say he was never running and he was just a Senate or Congress, anybody who's been in that game for 50 years, I'm sorry, or 20 years or 10 years, I don't think people really are educated on how politics work and how things get greased and how things get moved. The White House whip, their whole job is to turn things around and to totally BS people. To grease pockets and to get things done, right? I don't think people realize what the real world of politics is actually like. And then if they did, they would understand, like, this gentleman is not, that's the thing. How do you judge if they're good or not? Do you judge it on their past work? Because we've seen 50 years of, we know if you look back, they have hung out with triple K people. They've supported them and, said the N-word and did all this crazy stuff back in the day. But nobody cares, right? It's just, I don't get it.
Exactly. And the fact that, all that aside, the fact that the guy can't even form a sentence, really, he can't logically put together a sentence. He can read a little bit, but then he gets off and So it just makes no sense how people can't see that. I just don't get
Well,
it.
and again,
anyway, I just kind of wanted to bring
that's a
that up
fact.
and-
That's not like a bias thing. That's just everybody is seeing it now, and everybody is looking at it. It's regardless of what's happening. We have to look at everything. We have to look at the facts. That's a fact. That's not an opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as our younger son, if he was going to come up here, if stuff went down, I don't want him here because I don't trust him. I don't want him to know certain things that we have here, because gun related things, boom booms, whatever, things like that. I just don't trust that we wouldn't be turned in. It's almost like I don't know,
Gestapo.
You kind of can start relating things to me. Exactly.
Yep, I know.
And how they got kids against their parents and all that, and I have an older brother, same thing. So it's just weird. Like, we have cut ties with a bunch of family members, and we live in this small community up here, mountain community. And everybody, they'll talk whenever you see somebody, they want to know if you got the jab yet, and they're all proud that they got the jab. So we feel like my wife and I feel like we're this little island in our community, and as soon as they find out we're not on board, we're not sure, if we'll be the pariah of the community or what.
Like you're lepers.
So we kind of just keep it on the down low.
Well, Almost Homestead, again.
It's weird times for sure.
Thank you for calling. I'm so sorry. That's so sad. And it's not like you're. The whole thing about that, it totally. I know a lot of you can relate. Where they go, "Oh, you're one of them." Who's one of what? If we have opinions, we should have opinions. Yeah. It's not, and to not even listen, and the people that shut down on both sides. It doesn't matter what side you're on. If you just shut down and say, I'm not hearing it, I will hear any person who is a B supporter, their opinion of why he's a good man or bad man or whatever. I'll listen to it for 2 hours straight. Tell me what it is. I'm not just going to feed you back, oh, well, he did this and this and that. I'll listen. What good have they done? Because I've done my own research too, but I'm not going to stop and go, I already did my research, so I know my everything. I'll listen. If anybody wants to send me a large email of why they support and the good things and the pros and cons, I would love to read it. I'm totally down. I'm not going to be so triggered and say, oh, you're one of them. What do you mean? Isn't this whole point of everything that's going on right now is that we're all equal? Let's be equal. Let's actually treat each other like we're equal and forget about the words that we're saying and look at us as human beings that all have the same downfalls, all of the same accidents, that we all die. We all use the bathroom. None of us are gods like Kim Jong-un. So I was kidding, by the way. But yeah, Almost Homestead, thank you. And again, locally, by the way, I've seen they have not said anything to me, but I know that some towns are different.
And that mask thing, with our youngest son, that was like before they lifted these mandates. So now, things are calming down. But even when I go to Monroe or Gold Bar local, there's still people that have the masks on, even though I assumed it was done. I've, been in the store and said, hey, aren't we done with that? And they're like, yeah, just stay 6 feet away from people. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I don't get out much anyway, so I don't get out to many stores because I like being where I'm at here, and we go down and stock up and then come back.
I get you. Well, Almost Homestead, make sure to check out Almost Homestead's channel. We will have a link over on marfooglenews.com. In fact, if you haven't already love mobbed, then you should be going and doing so right now. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night. Be safe. Be prepared, okay?
All right. Good to talk to you and Dex. Take it easy.
All right. You have a great night. Was it a good call? Was it a bad call? Only tell me if it's one of them, okay? I like to hear positive things about everybody. But I can relate. It doesn't matter what. I don't think it should be two factions, period. And I think that people, even on both sides, say that they don't believe in the things that the others do. I don't even think people realize why they have separated, D and R, right? They don't know what actually consists under what used to be considered R or D. Now it's like, oh, if you supported this person, you're this or that. No, there's actual issues that people agreed or disagreed upon. And then there was some in the middle, and there was these different things. In fact, I think it should be, hey, I am this person. I believe in this. I don't believe in this. I believe in this. I don't believe in this. And then not argue about it. We should not be divided. Like I said, if you are divided, you are weaker. Think about this man and his son. That makes me so sad. I know my aunt, who's probably watching right now, her two daughters, my cousins, they're completely polar opposites, and I see the pain it puts my aunt through, because there's nothing. What is she gonna do? My sisters are very polar opposites of myself. Some are just like, oh, I'm getting it. It's like, they don't even try to look past what's in the reality bubble of mainstream. Nobody even bothers to look at that mainstream is evil. I don't get that. I don't get it. All right, Dex. The content on the website is absolutely amazing tonight. Would you not agree?
Absolutely. So, some potential charges coming for the former Prez. Arizona continues to produce news bites. The Lieutenant General we mentioned yesterday has come back to talk about how his words got twisted. And speaking of incentives earlier with Snafu, apparently West Virginia is offering up things like boom booms as an incentive.
Oh my gosh. Do you realize the target audience for that? Like, that's low. Wow. Representative Anthony Sabatini says, that's insane. So all of this is available on our website. The reason why we do this, if something is too, like that call was a little bit too to one direction, right? We try to stay away from that, because I think that it should be neutral as possible. When you have these mainstream news now, it's like this direction or this direction, and they are scripted. They can't even go outside that bubble. You can't hear Tucker Carlson there's certain things that Tucker can't say, or, Don Lemon, they can't say things. They can't say, well, I think T-Man did a good job today. Do you think Don Lemon could say that? No. That means that they're trapped in their jails. They're not able to say whatever they want. If you disagree with me, I just hope that you don't hate me. But if you do, that's okay. It's voluntary to watch. You don't have to watch. For those, there's 100 people or so that do dislike button. You help with engagement. YouTube actually doesn't care how many likes or dislikes. It actually helps the channel. It shares it with more people if there's arguments and debate. They like that. So if you dislike, there's people that watch all the way through to hate my show. They're probably yelling at the TV screen or hitting it, like my grandpa did, sitting in the kitchen listening to Rush Limbaugh, and he would listen every day. He hated Rush Limbaugh's guts, but he listened every day, and he would yell at the radio and scream and how he disagreed. But that's how it should be. We should be driven to disagree and to move forward instead of moving backwards. Thank your mods. It looks like CJ Blaze was almost entirely alone tonight. You just did a phenomenal job, CJ. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get the mods together. I want to have a panel. Might have a couple extra people join as well. Thank you everybody that joined us tonight. There are Dex, if you could, I hope I didn't miss anybody. So if you could put all the YouTubes in screener, and then if you could tell me the top 5 over on DLive.
Sure. And number 5, it's Lisa K. And in number 4, we have Susie P. In number 3, it's Mrs. Jammer. Number 2 is Zippy Moons, and in the number 1 position, Jammer 1.
Zippy Moons, you must have come in with something big last. I didn't even know you were here. I apologize. I'm trying to get a new system so I can see both platforms. We need to do a DLive only show. That is something that is coming. The mod show, mods, if you want to do a show, let's do it. I will do it separate than the regular show, or we can do a main channel. I don't care. Part of the reason for that is to help my mods grow. They all have channels. If you see a mod in my channel, most of my mods have channels. Make sure to go support them. Mods, feel free to share your own channel or other mods. As long as I get that right now they're looking down upon links, which is really weird. Their YouTube came in and deleted one of my mods' links of my own stuff. So I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll see. Caller is speaking for many, says Lisa K23. Yes, that I know it's painful. We should, even if you totally disagree, but like freaking out and quitting your job on the spot over this stuff, it's like yeah. Dex, thank you so much for all your help tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love, brother. Great show.
It is now officially time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. It's my freestyle time at the end where I say the credits. The credits of this show are you. You are the people that matter, and you are absolutely amazing. So again, the end is near. It says here for 3 years. I'm here until the end for Foogle fam. That is awesome. Tabby Cat, Jonesy, all have a wonderful night. Let's be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.
On the hip hop, on the drip drop. 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 Miss Jammer 1, everybody gotta pause. Everybody really wanna go, then they stop. I bring it right back now, pop. And I did it with like a bear claws. M mentioned in the heavy on the V-Shake. Gang on the LB rules and everybody the same. That's called equality. Turn it up a little. Money grabbing the Louis so mashy. On the super chat, on the big, on the batty. MLB Subaru WRX. I'm moving mountains with my ex. Went right down in the chat, and to bring it down now they vex, and everybody says yes. Breaking on the GA, Tate Anderson to step back on the way. Every day from the duties that rain, investigation they still reign. With the superintendent on the bang day, bring it down and everybody knows how. And mention go on the low low, straight Jesus, bring it on the eases. Oh now they bring it to pieces. Just receive this from Miss Jammer 1. Oh I'm done. And the choky gal. Drop. Bear clouds, Mrs. Pieces. Bring it back now, here is my thesis. Labs. Hey people, you can take off your mask now that we know that Fauci funded the Wuhan labs. Hey people, you can take off your mask now that we know that Fauci funded the Wuhan labs. I got the M mention, everybody mention. Now we gotta go back again and now we touch it. I gotta go now, we gotta see a touch it. The planet, everybody don't wanna mention. I'm mentioning the B-Shang gang and the Jungle 73 and the same game. Playing every single day that we go now. Everybody really wanna go to the hoedown. Everybody knows that we gotta go and it's getting close. Hey people, you can take off your mask now that we know that Fauci funded the Wuhan labs. Hey, you can take take off your mask now that we know that Fauci funded the Wuhan labs. Hey people, you can take off your mask now that we know that Fauci funded the Wuhan labs. Hey people, you can take off your mask now that we know that Fauci funded the Wuhan labs. Hey people, you can take off your mask now that we know that Fauci funded the Wuhan labs. I gotta spit it on the demo, bring it on the bring it on. Hey, gotta bring it on the lay-low, want it on the lay-low, told the vagabonds from the Euro. Hey, new creator, bring a day, don't know, with the representative. Distraction from the UFOs. Bring it, everybody already knows. Thank you, Zippy Moons. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Trying to find a track here. Is it this?